You are 8 years old, and you don't remember your parents. This is normal in the Schola Progenium. Every child here is an orphan, sons and daughters of imperial servants who died in service to the emperor. Your parents were administratum clerks, killed when their Habrock collapsed during an orbital bombardment. Or maybe they were soldiers, or medici staff. You can't quite remember anymore. The Schola doesn't encourage remembering. Looking backward is weakness. Looking forward to service is strength. The orphanage is on a world called Meridian's Gate, a fortress world dedicated to training imperial servants. The building is grey stone and iron bars and endless corridors that smell like disinfectant and boiled protein. You share a dormitory with 47 other children. You sleep in narrow beds arranged in perfect rows. You wake at 500 every morning to the sound of bells. You pray to the emperor for 1 hour before breakfast. You study imperial history, tactical theory, basic combat training and catechism. Your days are scheduled in 15-minute increments. There is no free time. Play is scheduled and structured. Everything serves the purpose of making you useful to the Imperium. You're good at this life, better than most. You follow orders, you memorize prayers, you excel in the physical training, especially the physical training. The drill abbots notice, they always notice. Drill Abbot Cresson is a former Imperial Guard sergeant, missing his left arm below the elbow, replaced with an augmetic claw that clicks when he gestures. He runs the combat training sessions. You're in the courtyard, a space of packed dirt surrounded by high walls, running the obstacle course, climbing ropes, crawling under wire, sprinting between markers. The other children are faster than you. You're small for 8, thin from the Schola's protein-like diet, but you're faster at the course, because you don't hesitate. You see the path and you take it. No second guessing, no fear. Again, Cresson barks after you finish. Your time was 11 seconds faster than anyone else in your cohort. Faster this time. You run it again. 10 seconds faster. Again. You run until your lungs burn and your legs shake and your hands are bleeding from the rope. You run until 3 other children collapse from exhaustion. You run until Cresson finally says, "Acceptable. Dismissed." That night, you hear him talking to Drill Abbot Severina outside the dormitory. Their voices carry through the thin door. The small one, designation 7734 Kappa, exceptional reflexes, aggression indices above standard, pain tolerance high, recommended for assessment. Already flagged, Severina responds, along with 4 others from this cohort. The assessment team arrives in 3 days. You don't know what assessment means. You're too tired to care. You fall asleep and dream of running, always running, faster and faster, chasing something you can never catch. The assessment team arrives exactly when Severina said they would. You're in morning catechism when the doors open and 5 figures enter. They wear black bodysuits under long coats, also black. No insignia, no markings, just black on black. Their faces are hidden behind featureless masks. They stand at the back of the chapel while the drill abbots lead prayers, and they watch, silent, motionless. After prayers, Drill Abbot Cresson calls 5 names. Yours is 3rd. You stand with the others, 2 boys, 2 girls, all around 8 years old. All of you are smaller than average, but fast in training. All of you score high on the reflex tests. All of you have been flagged as promising. The assessment team leads you to a room you've never seen before. It's underground, accessed through corridors that descend deeper than you knew the building went. The room is white. Clinically white. White walls, white floor, white ceiling. Equipment you don't recognize lines the walls. Medical equipment, you think. The smell is sharp, chemical. Wrong. They test you for hours. Physical tests first. Running, jumping. Reaction time measured with lights and buttons. Hit the button when the light flashes. Your reflexes are measured in milliseconds. They draw blood, lots of blood. They stick sensors to your head and show you images on screens. Violence, gore, things that should make children scream. They measure your responses. Your heart rate barely increases. They show you images of authority figures, of the emperor's servants, of sacred symbols. Your heart rate spikes with what they catalogue as appropriate reverence. Psychological tests. Questions asked by synthesized voices from speakers you can't see. Would you die for the emperor? Yes. Would you kill for the emperor? Yes. If ordered to kill another servant of the emperor, would you obey? You hesitate. Just 1 second. The sensors on your head measure that hesitation. Yes, you finally answer. Why did you hesitate? I don't want to kill servants of the emperor. I want to kill his enemies. But you would obey the order? Yes. The questions continue, hundreds of them. Thousands. They blend together. Your head hurts. You're thirsty. You need to use the bathroom. You don't complain. Complaining is weakness. After 6 hours, they let you stop. You rejoin your cohort for evening meal. The other 4 children who were tested look as exhausted as you feel. One of them, a girl named Kyla, who's faster than you in sprints, is crying silently into her protein paste. You don't ask why. You learned early not to ask questions. 3 days later, you're summoned to drill Abbot Crescen's office. It's a small room, sparse, containing a desk and 2 chairs. The walls display commendations from his guard service. A small shrine to the emperor occupies one corner. Crescen sits behind his desk. Standing beside him is one of the black-suited assessment team, still masked, still silent. Sit, Crescen orders. You sit. The chair is too large. Your feet don't touch the floor. Crescen looks at you with his grey eyes. He's not unkind, you think. Just hard. Everyone in the Schola is hard. You have to be, to survive training Imperial servants. You've been selected, Crescen says. Advanced training. The Officio Assassinorum has chosen you and 4 others from your cohort for specialized service to the Emperor. This is the highest honor. Most children in the Schola become clerks, soldiers, mid-level administrators. You've been chosen for something greater. You will serve the Emperor in ways most humans cannot imagine. You will be trained to eliminate his enemies with precision and lethality. You will become a weapon in the Emperor's hand. You process this information. 8 years old, and you're trying to understand what it means. It sounds important, glorious even. The Officio Assassinorum. You've heard the term in lessons. They're the Emperor's secret warriors, shadows who strike at enemies no army can reach. Heroes, in a way. Do you accept this honor? Crescen asks. It's phrased as a question. You're smart enough, even at 8, to know it's not really a question. But you answer anyway. Yes, Drill Abbot. Good. Crescen pulls out a data slate and places it in front of you. The screen shows text, dense paragraphs of high Gothic legal language that you can barely read. Your education is advanced for 8, but this is beyond you. Words like irrevocable and biological modification and lifetime service unto death appear in the text. You don't understand most of it. Press your thumb here, Crescen instructs, pointing to a sensor pad at the bottom of the slate. You press your thumb to the pad, it glows green, the slate chimes, accepted. You've just signed your life away, given legal consent to procedures you cannot comprehend, agreed to terms you cannot understand. You're 8 years old. You don't know what you've done. Crescen takes the slate back. You depart tomorrow at dawn. Pack nothing. You won't need possessions where you're going. Say your prayers tonight. Thank the Emperor for this opportunity. Dismissed. You stand, salute, leave the office. Behind you, you hear the black-suited figure speak for the first time. The voice is modulated through the mask. Artificial, neither male nor female. Acceptable genetic baseline, psychological profile suitable. Proceed with Phase 1 conditioning upon arrival. You don't know what that means. You'll learn. That night, you lie in your narrow bed and stare at the ceiling. Around you, the other children sleep. Their breathing fills the darkness. You think about advanced training, about serving the Emperor in special ways, about becoming something greater than a clerk or soldier. You feel pride. At 8 years old, selected for something special. You feel chosen, blessed. Kyla is in the bed next to yours. She's awake too. You can tell by her breathing. It's too irregular for sleep. After a long silence, she whispers, "Are you scared?" You think about this. No. Should I be? I am. Those people in black, they felt wrong, like they weren't human. They serve the Emperor. That makes them good. Maybe. She's quiet for a moment. Did you understand that document we signed? No. Did you? No. But we signed it anyway. You don't have a response to that. You're 8. You don't understand that you've just consented to horrors beyond imagination, that you've authorized your own destruction, the systematic dismantling of everything that makes you human, that the honor you feel is the bait in a trap that's already closed. You fall asleep thinking about glory, about serving the Emperor, about becoming special. You're still innocent enough to think that's a good thing. They come for you at dawn, the same black-suited figures, 5 of them, 1 for each selected child. You're assembled in the courtyard with your small group. You, Kyla, and 3 boys whose names you barely remember, Marcus, Theon, and someone whose name you've already forgotten. You've spent 3 years in the Schola together, but you were never encouraged to form attachments. Attachment is weakness. Service is strength. You're not allowed to say goodbye to the other children. They're still in their dormitories, still sleeping. Only the drill abbots are present. Cressin, Severina, and 3 others whose names you don't know. They stand at attention, watching as the black-suited figures lead you toward a transport vehicle idling at the courtyard's edge. The vehicle is black. Of course it is. It has no windows. The interior is dark, lit only by dim red lights. You climb inside. The door seals with a hiss of hydraulics. The engine hum is low, almost subsonic. You feel it in your bones. The journey takes hours, maybe days. You can't tell. There are no windows, no way to track time. They give you water and tasteless nutrition bars at intervals. No one speaks. The black-suited figures sit motionless, watching you with their featureless masks. You try to sleep. Sometimes you succeed. Mostly you just sit in the dark, listening to the engine, wondering where you're going. When the vehicle finally stops and the doors open, you emerge into a landing bay. Grey metal everywhere. No natural light. The air smells recycled, filtered, dead. You're in a facility. Underground, you think, or maybe orbital. No way to know. No windows anywhere. Just grey corridors extending in every direction, lit by harsh lumens that cast no shadows. A new figure greets you. Not black-suited. This one wears red robes, marked with the Officio Assassinorum symbol. A stylized skull bisected by a dagger. The figure's face is hidden behind a red mask. When it speaks, the voice is human but cold, emotionless. Welcome to Facility 17. You are here to be remade. What you were no longer matters. What you will become is all that matters. You will be trained. You will be modified. You will become weapons in the Emperor's hand. This process will be painful. This process will change you fundamentally. This process cannot be reversed. You have consented. We will proceed. Follow. The figure turns and walks down a corridor. You follow. What else can you do? You're 8 years old, in a facility with no windows, no way to leave, no way to contact anyone who knew you before. You've been selected, chosen, honored. You don't yet understand that you've been condemned. But you will learn. Over the next decade, you'll learn exactly what you've consented to. What they're going to do to you. What you're going to become. You follow the red-robed figure deeper into the facility, and the doors seal behind you with a sound like a tomb closing. Your old life, such as it was, has ended. Your new life is beginning, and it will be so much worse than you can possibly imagine. The facility has no day or night. The lumens are always the same brightness. Harsh, sterile, unforgiving. You're assigned a cell, 3 meters by 4 meters, a cot bolted to the wall, a waste disposal unit, a small sink, nothing else. The door is solid metal with no window. It locks from the outside. You hear it seal every night, the magnetic lock engaging with a heavy clunk that echoes in your small space. You share the facility with the 4 other children from your scholar cohort, but you rarely see them. The training is individual, solitary, designed to prevent attachment, prevent cooperation, prevent anything resembling friendship. You pass each other in corridors sometimes, accompanied by instructors or servitors. You make eye contact. No one speaks. Speaking without permission is punished. The punishments are creative. The training begins immediately, day 1, if you can call it day when there's no sun, no way to measure time except by the schedule they impose. You're taken to a gymnasium. It's vast, the ceiling lost in shadows, the floor marked with training circles and equipment you don't recognize. An instructor waits. He's a man, tall, heavily augmented. One eye is replaced with a targeting lens that whirs and clicks when he looks at you. His right arm is augmetic, and when he demonstrates a strike, the servos produce a sound like tearing metal. "You will learn to kill," he says. His voice is flat, no emotion. Efficiently. Silently, with any weapon or no weapon. Your body will become the weapon, your mind will target, your will execute. Begin. He teaches you strike points, human anatomy rendered down to vulnerabilities, where to hit to kill instantly, where to hit to cause maximum pain without killing, where to sever arteries, how to break bones with minimal force, how to use a blade, dozens of blade types, each requiring different techniques, how to strangle, how to snap necks. You're 8 years old, learning to kill humans with your hands. The training is brutal. Hours each day, 6 days a week. On the 7th day, you undergo medical procedures. They monitor your growth, your bone density, your muscle development. They take samples, blood, tissue, genetic material. They inject you with substances that make you sick, then watch how you recover. They're cataloging you, building a biological profile, preparing you for what comes next. You don't know this yet. You just know the needles hurt and you're not allowed to cry. By age 9, you've killed your first human. Not in training, not simulation. Actual killing. They bring a man to the gymnasium. He's restrained, hands bound, kneeling in the center of the training circle. He's thin, filthy, his face covered with sores, his eyes are wild with fear. An instructor hands you a knife. Simple combat blade, standard issue. "This is a heretic," the instructor says, "condemned by the Inquisition, sentenced to death. You will execute the sentence. Blade to the brainstem, through the base of the skull. Quick death. The Emperor grants this mercy. Execute." You're 9 years old. The man is crying, begging in a language you don't understand. The blade is heavy in your hand. "Execute," the instructor repeats, "or we'll drag this out, make it painful for both of you." You step forward. The man sees you, sees a child holding a knife, and his begging intensifies. You move behind him. Place your left hand on his forehead, tilting his head forward. Find the spot at the base of the skull. The instructor taught you exactly where. You push the blade in. It's harder than you expected. The skull resists. You push harder. The blade punches through. The man convulses once and goes still. You've killed someone. You're 9 years old and you've just taken a human life. The instructor nods. Acceptable. Again. They bring another condemned prisoner. You kill him too. Then another. then another. By the end of the session, you've executed 6 people. 6 human beings who were alive in the morning and dead by evening. By your hand. You feel nothing. They've trained you too well. The capacity for horror is being systematically removed, replaced with cold efficiency. That night, alone in your cell, you try to remember their faces. You can't. They're already fading, becoming abstract. Targets neutralized. Objectives completed. You're 9 years old and you're already learning not to think of people as people. Age 10 brings weapons training. Not just knives, everything. Bolt pistols, needle rifles, plasma weapons, toxin injectors, monofilament wire, explosives. You learn to field strip, maintain and employ 17 different weapon systems. You learn their effective ranges, their penetration capabilities, their failure rates. You learn to shoot while moving, while injured, while under fire. You learn to compensate for recoil that should break a child's arms but somehow doesn't because they're feeding you something. Supplements in your food, injections during medical sessions. That's making you stronger, faster. Your body is changing. You're still small, still look like a child, but your muscles are denser. Your reflexes are faster. You can run for hours without tiring. You can hold your breath for 4 minutes. Your pain tolerance is increasing. They test this regularly with electroshock and other stimuli. They're modifying you, gradually preparing your biology for what comes later. The psychological conditioning intensifies. They show you propaganda films. The Emperor's glory, the Imperium's righteousness, the Xenos threat, the traitor's corruption. They show you images of enemies and flood your system with stimulants that trigger aggression responses. Classical conditioning. Pavlovian. When you see an enemy, your body automatically prepares for violence. Adrenaline spikes, heart rate increases, aggression pathways activate. They're rewiring your brain, making you a weapon at the neurological level. You're still aware enough to understand this is happening, still human enough to recognize what they're doing to you. But you can't stop it. Can't resist. You're 10 years old, in a windowless facility, completely isolated, utterly powerless. You endure, because enduring is all you can do. Age 11. Stealth training. You learn to move silently, to become invisible in plain sight, to control your breathing, your heartbeat, your body temperature. They teach you to read environments, where shadows fall, where sight lines converge, where surveillance is weakest. You learn to pick locks, bypass security systems, infiltrate secured locations. You learn disguise, not costumes, but body language, how to move like a servitor, like a menial worker, like someone who belongs, how to be unremarkable, forgettable. You're being shaped into something that can go anywhere, kill anyone, and disappear. The medical procedures become more invasive. They install your first cybernetics. Neural implants at the base of your skull. The surgery is performed with minimal anesthetic. They say pain tolerance is part of the training. You're awake for most of it. You feel them cutting into your neck. Feel the drill as it opens your skull. Feel the implant sliding into position against your brainstem. The pain is transcendent, beyond anything you've experienced. You scream until your voice breaks, then scream silently, your mouth open, no sound emerging. The surgeons work with mechanical precision, ignoring your suffering. When they're done, they seal the incision with bio-glue and send you back to your cell to recover. The implants take 3 weeks to fully integrate. During that time, you experience migraines so severe you can't stand, nosebleeds, auditory hallucinations, sensory distortions. Your brain is adapting to foreign technology, neural tissue growing around the implants, forming connections. When it's finally over, when the pain finally subsides, you discover what the implants do. They enhance your reaction time, information processing speed, combat calculations happen faster, threat assessment, target prioritization, tactical analysis. You think faster, react faster. The world seems to slow down around you. You're 11 years old, and you're no longer entirely human. You're something else, something modified, enhanced, weaponized. Page 12. Advanced combat training. You spar against grown men, guards, servitors, augmented warriors. You win. Not every time, but often enough that the instructors are pleased. You're small, still look like a child, but you move like something else, something predatory, fast and precise and utterly merciless. They teach you anatomy of non-humans, Xenos physiology, where to strike orcs to cause maximum damage, how to kill Eldar despite their speed, Tau weak points, Tyranid biological structures. You learn the enemy through dissection, literal dissection. They bring you Xenos corpses and living specimens. You cut them apart, catalog their organs, identify vulnerabilities. It's educational and desensitizing in equal measure. You kill your first living Xenos at 12. An orc, young, captured during a raid. It's restrained, but still dangerous. Orcs are always dangerous. You approach with a combat knife. The orc sees you and laughs. Actual laughter, deep and rumbling. It thinks you're a joke, a human child sent to kill it. You move, fast, faster than it expects. The knife goes into its throat, through the trachea, severing the major arteries. Blood sprays, green-black, smelling of copper and rot. The orc stops laughing, tries to grab you. You're already gone, circling, striking again. Kidney, spine, behind the knee. It falls. You finish it with a blade through the eye into the brain. The orc is dead. You're covered in its blood. The instructors are watching, evaluating. Acceptable, one says. Promising development. Continue enhancement protocols. That night, alone in your cell, you look at your hands. They're a child's hands, small and thin, but they're covered in calluses from weapon training, scars from blade practice. You've killed humans and Xenos. You're 12 years old, and you've killed more than most soldiers do in entire careers. You try to remember the child you were, the 8-year-old in the Schola Progenium who thought this was going to be glorious service. You can barely remember him. That child is gone, replaced by something colder, harder, more efficient. You're becoming what they want, and the worst part? You're good at it, exceptional even. The instructors say you're one of the best candidates they've processed in decades. High success probability, likely to survive the final procedures. You should be proud. You're not. You're just empty. The emotions have been systematically removed, replaced with cold calculation and conditioned aggression. You're a weapon under construction, and weapons don't feel pride. They just function. Age 13. They call you to a briefing room. You've never been here before. It's larger than the training spaces, with multiple screens and a conference table. Several figures wait. Instructors, medical staff, and someone new. A man in the black and red robes of the Officio Assassinorum. His face is uncovered, rare here. He's old, his features weathered, his eyes cold and evaluating. Asset designation 7734 Kappa, he says, reading from a data slate. You've completed the preliminary training phase. Your performance is exemplary. Physical development exceeds projections. Psychological conditioning is stable. Genetic compatibility is within acceptable parameters. You are approved for advancement to Phase 2, full conversion to Eversor operational status. The words should mean something, should trigger alarm. But you're 13, and you've been conditioned so thoroughly that you just stand at attention and wait for more information. Phase 2 involves extensive biological and cybernetic modification. The man continues. Gene therapy to rewrite fundamental aspects of your physiology, cybernetic systems installation throughout your body, glandular implants to produce combat stimulants, Neural reconditioning at the deepest levels. The process will take approximately 4 years. It will be extremely painful. Many candidates do not survive. Those who do survive are no longer recognizably human. They are Eversor assassins, the Officio Assassinorum's most lethal operatives, weapons of last resort against enemies of the Imperium. He pauses, looks at you directly. You consented to this at age 8. That consent is legally binding. However, I am required to confirm your continued willingness to proceed. You may refuse. Refusal will result in memory modification and assignment to a standard Imperial Guard regiment. You will serve, but not as Eversor. Do you wish to proceed? It's phrased as a choice. You're smart enough, even with all the conditioning, to recognize it's not really a choice. Refuse and they'll scramble your memories, send you away. Accept and they'll turn you into a monster, but at least a monster with purpose, a weapon that matters. You've been trained for this, prepared for this. Everything for the last 5 years has been leading to this moment. I will proceed, you say. Your voice is steady, emotionless. You barely recognize it as your own. Very well. The man makes a notation on his slate. Asset 7734 Kappa approved for Eversor conversion. Initiate Phase 2 protocols immediately. He leaves. The medical staff remains. They're looking at you differently now. Not as a student, as a project, a specimen, something to be worked on. Follow, one says. You follow. Down corridors you've never seen, deeper into the facility, to surgical theaters and genetic laboratories, and rooms filled with equipment whose purpose you can't identify. This is where the real work begins. Where they'll take what's left of you, the 13-year-old child, and systematically dismantle it, rebuild it as something new, something monstrous. You're afraid. For the first time in years, you're genuinely afraid. The conditioning can't fully suppress it. You're going to be unmade, remade, turned into something that's barely human. But you keep walking, because what else can you do? You consented. They remind you of this constantly. You signed the forms. You agreed. Never mind that you were 8. Never mind that you couldn't understand. Consent is consent. The Imperium doesn't care about capacity to consent, only that the forms are properly filed. You reach the surgical theater. They're waiting. Medicae staff in white, augmented surgeons, servitors with tool arms that whir and click. The operating table is in the center, metal, adjustable, covered with restraints. Lie down, a surgeon says. You lie down. They strap you in. Arms, legs, torso, head. You can't move, can barely breathe. A needle slides into your arm. Anesthetic, but not much. Just enough to prevent shock. Not enough to prevent pain. Beginning Gene Therapy Protocol 1, a voice announces. Subject will remain conscious. Document all responses. The first injection burns like fire in your veins. You feel it spreading from the injection site, burning through your bloodstream. Your DNA is being rewritten. Cells are dying and being replaced by something new, something stronger, faster, more aggressive. The pain is absolute, all-consuming. You scream, you can't help it. The surgeons watch, take notes, monitor vital signs, and continue. This is just the beginning. They have 4 years of procedures planned, 4 years of systematic dismantling and reconstruction, 4 years of turning you from human into weapon. You scream into the surgical theater's harsh lights, and somewhere in the recesses of your changing mind, you understand. The child you were is dying on this table. What emerges won't be you anymore, won't be human anymore, will just be a thing that kills. And there's nothing you can do to stop it. The modifications happen in stages. They can't do everything at once. Your body would reject the changes, go into shock, die. So they work methodically, systematically, breaking you down and rebuilding you piece by piece. Over 48 months. Months 1 through 6, gene therapy. They inject you with viral vectors carrying modified genetic code. The viruses infect your cells, insert new DNA, rewrite the instructions that make you human. Your muscle tissue is redesigned for explosive strength and impossible endurance. Your bone density increases. They're reinforcing your skeleton to handle the stress your modified muscles will produce. Your cardiovascular system is enhanced. Larger heart, more efficient lungs, blood that carries oxygen more effectively and clots faster when wounded. The pain is constant. Your body is literally changing at the cellular level. Growing pains don't begin to describe it. It feels like your skeleton is trying to tear itself out of your skin. Your muscles cramp and spasm uncontrollably. You develop fevers that should kill you but don't. You vomit blood. Your skin breaks out in lesions that weep clear fluid. Cellular waste products from the transformation. They don't let you rest. Between treatments, between bouts of agony, they force you to continue training. Keep the body moving, keep the muscles adapting, push through the pain. Pain is just information. Information can be ignored. You're 14 when the gene therapy finally stabilizes. You look in a mirror. They don't usually allow mirrors, but a medical tech forgets one in the examination room, and you don't recognize yourself. You've grown, shot up 10 centimeters in 6 months, but it's not normal growth. Your muscles are grotesquely overdeveloped, visible under your skin, giving you an appearance that's simultaneously child and monster. Your face has changed, hardened. Your eyes look older, dead. You're 14 and you look like something that shouldn't exist. Months 7 through 12. Cybernetic installation. Primary systems. They start with your spine, opening your back from neck to tailbone, installing neural interface cables that connect to your brain implants and run down to your pelvis. The cables allow faster signal transmission from brain to body, faster reactions, more precise control. The surgery takes 6 hours. You're awake for most of it. They use localized anesthesia and paralytic agents. You can't move, can't feel your body below the neck, but you're conscious. You hear everything. The saws cutting through vertebrae, the drills, the wet sounds as they peel back muscle tissue and insert the cables, the clicking as they seal the cybernetics to your spine. When they're done, they let the anesthesia wear off. The pain is immediate and overwhelming. Every nerve in your body is screaming. The cybernetics are foreign objects interfacing with your nervous system. Your body wants to reject them. You develop infection at the installation sites. Fever, delirium. They pump you full of antibiotics and immunosuppressants. Keep you strapped to a bed for 3 weeks while your body adapts, while neural tissue grows around the cables, integrating them, making them part of you. When you can finally move again, everything is different. Your body responds faster. You think about moving, and you're already moving. The delay between intention and action is gone. You're faster, more precise, superhuman. But you hurt. Constantly. The cybernetics produce chronic pain, low-level but persistent. They give you pain suppressants, but not enough to eliminate it, just enough to make it bearable. They want you to hurt, want you to associate existence with pain, want to train you to function despite agony. Months 13 through 18, glandular implants. They're installing modified organs throughout your body. Synthetic glands that produce combat stimulants on demand, hormone regulators, chemical factories that will turn you into a living weapon. They start with the adrenal glands. They remove your natural ones, unnecessary now, and replace them with augmented versions 3 times as large. These new glands can produce adrenaline in massive quantities, flooding your system, pushing your enhanced body beyond human limits. Then they add new organs entirely, a rage amplifier at the base of your brain, a small implant that stimulates aggression centers when activated, a pain suppressor network throughout your nervous system, nodes that can block pain signals entirely when you're in combat, a metabolic regulator in your abdomen that manages the chemical chaos the other implants will produce. Each surgery is agony. They're cutting into you, installing foreign objects, rerouting your biology. You spend more time on operating tables than off them. You lose track of days. Everything blurs together. Pain, surgery, recovery, more pain, more surgery. At 15, you undergo the most invasive procedure yet, brain modification. They open your skull and install neural implants directly into your cerebral cortex. These implants interface with your existing brainstem implants, creating a network that spans your entire brain. The implants do several things. They enhance your cognitive processing, faster thinking, better threat assessment, tactical analysis in real time. They suppress certain emotional responses, fear, hesitation, empathy. They enhance others, aggression, determination, focus. They're rewiring your mind at the most fundamental level. You're awake during the procedure. They need you conscious to test the implants as they install them. They stimulate different neural regions and ask you questions, monitor your responses, make adjustments. When they stimulate the aggression centers, you feel rage like you've never experienced. Pure, distilled hatred for everything. You want to kill, need to kill. The feeling is so intense, you're glad you're restrained. When they stimulate the pain suppressor network, all sensation vanishes. They burn your arm with a laser. You watch your skin blacken and smell cooking flesh but feel nothing. It's disturbing, like you're disconnected from your body. When they stimulate the fear suppression nodes, all anxiety evaporates. They show you images that should terrify, monsters, death, destruction. You feel nothing, just cold analysis, threat assessment, how to kill it. The procedure takes 12 hours. When it's done, when they seal your skull and let you recover, you're different, fundamentally different. The person you were, the child selected from the scholar, is gone, erased by surgical modification and neural rewiring. You are Asset 447 now. They stopped using your designation code, just a number, easier that way, less human. Months, 19 through 24. Combat optimization. Now that the major systems are installed, they're fine-tuning, adjusting hormone levels, calibrating neural implants, testing your limits and pushing past them, adjusting to your permanent negrity. End post-conflict ICS. They discover you can run at 60 kilometers per hour for short bursts. Your reaction time is measured in microseconds. You can process tactical information faster than most targeting computers. Your strength is 10 times baseline human. You can punch through plasteel with your bare hands. But there are problems. Your metabolism is unstable. The glands produce chemicals in imbalanced ratios. You experience episodes where all the stimulants hit at once. Uncontrolled rage, impossible strength, complete loss of tactical control. You attack anything in range. They have to restrain you with powered chains until it passes. They adjust. More regulators, more control systems, feedback loops that monitor your chemical levels and adjust in real time. It helps. The episodes become less frequent, more controllable. But it never goes away entirely. The beast inside you, the thing they've created, it's always there, just beneath the surface, waiting to be released. Months 25 through 36. Tactical conditioning. Advanced training now that your body can handle it. They put you through scenarios that would kill normal humans. Combat in zero gravity. Underwater fighting. Extreme temperature environments. Urban warfare. Wilderness survival. Assassination techniques against every type of target. Human, Xenos, heavily augmented, psychers. You excel at all of it. The modifications have made you exceptional. Perfect, almost. You're faster than anyone you train against. stronger, more aggressive, more lethal. They test you against servitors programmed with combat algorithms. You destroy them. Against combat servitors with actual weapons, you destroy them too, even unarmed. Against other candidates, the other children from your cohort who've survived the process. Kyla is still alive. You recognize her, barely. The modifications have changed her as much as they've changed you. She's taller, muscular, her face hard, but her eyes, when you face her in sparring, still have a spark of humanity, some part of her that's survived. You fight her for 7 minutes. It's brutal. She's as enhanced as you are, as well trained. But you're faster, more aggressive. You get inside her guard and put her down with a strike to the throat that crushes her windpipe. Not fatal. Medical staff intervene immediately, but decisive. She's taken away for medical treatment. You never see her again. You don't know if she died or washed out or was reassigned. She just disappears from your life. 2 of the boys are already dead, failed to survive the modifications. The third, Marcus, you think his name was, is still in training somewhere. You never cross paths. You're alone. Completely alone. Surrounded by instructors and medical staff and other candidates, but fundamentally isolated. They've designed it this way. Eversor assassins work alone. No team. No support. Just the mission and the target. You're being trained for absolute solitude. Months 37 through 48. Final procedures. The last modifications. The ones that seal your fate forever. They install the Eversor activation suite, a complex system of implants throughout your body that work together to regulate your combat state. Neural inhibitors that keep you calm and controlled when inactive. Chemical injectors that flood your system with stimulants when activated. A metabolic accelerator that pushes your enhanced body to its absolute limits. And the Deadman's switch. A bomb implanted in your chest cavity, nestled against your heart. Molecular acid explosive. If your vital signs cease, if you die, it detonates. One final act of service, one last kill. Even in death, you serve. They tell you about the Deadman's switch very matter-of-factly. This ensures you remain valuable even in mission failure scenarios. Your death becomes a tactical asset. Take pride in this. You will serve the Emperor literally from cradle to grave and beyond. You're 17 years old and they've installed a bomb in your chest, made your death into a weapon, ensured you can never escape, never retire, never have a life beyond killing. Even your corpse is weaponized. The final procedure is the stasis system. They install cryogenic regulators throughout your body and a neural interface crown in your skull. This system will keep you in suspended animation between missions, preserves you, prevents aging, keeps you fresh for deployment. They don't mention that you'll be conscious during stasis, that it's not sleep, not unconsciousness, just paralysis, complete sensory deprivation while your mind remains awake and aware. They don't mention this because if you knew, you might resist, and they need you compliant. The installation is the last surgery. After this, you're complete, a finished product. Asset 44147, Eversor Assassin. Operational and ready for deployment. When they seal the last incision and release you from the surgical restraint, you stand on legs that barely feel like yours. You look down at your body, scarred, augmented, more machine than flesh. You're 17, but you don't look 17. You don't look human. You look like something built for violence. Because that's what you are. They take you to a chamber you've never seen. It's large, dark, dominated by a cylindrical tank in the center. The tank is filled with clear fluid, preservation chemicals, your stasis pod. Enter, an instructor orders. You step into the tank. The fluid is cold. It rises around you as you wade deeper, up to your waist, your chest, your neck, You take a deep breath and submerge completely. The neural interface activates. Tendrils extend from the tank's interior, connecting to the ports in your skull. You feel the connection establish. A sharp pain, then numbness. The chemicals in the tank are absorbing through your skin, shutting down your motor functions. You can't move, can't breathe. The tank is breathing for you now, oxygenating your blood directly through your skin. Your vision blurs. You're paralyzed, frozen, but conscious. Completely, terribly conscious. They're testing the system, making sure it works. You'll stay here for the next 72 hours, awake, aware, unable to move or communicate, just existing in chemical suspension, alone with your thoughts. This is your future. This is what awaits between missions. Decades in stasis, conscious but frozen, sensory deprivation hell. You try to scream, nothing happens. Your mouth won't move, your lungs can't draw breath. You're trapped in your own body. You are Asset 447, Eversor Assassin, a weapon of the Officio Assassinorum. This is what you consented to. This is what you've become, and there is no going back. Your first mission comes 6 months after the final procedures. 6 months of testing, calibration, practice deployments. 6 months of entering and leaving stasis, getting used to the horror of conscious paralysis. They tell you it gets easier. They're lying. It never gets easier. You just become numb to it. Mission parameters are simple. Heretic cult leader on industrial world Valgus Secundus. Name, Matthias Crade. Crime, preaching sedition, corrupting imperial citizens, suspected chaos worship. Solution, termination with extreme prejudice. They wake you for deployment. The stasis tank drains. Feeling returns to your limbs. The neural connections disconnect. You stand, naked and dripping preservation fluid, while servitors hose you down and dress you in your operational gear. The gear is minimal. Black bodysuit, armor plates at vital points, your weapons, power sword, bolt pistol, needle pistol, monomolecular wire, various toxins. And yourself. Your body is the primary weapon. Everything else is secondary. They activate the stimulant suite. The glands throughout your body begin producing combat drugs. Adrenaline, synthetic opiates, rage hormones, stimulants that make you faster, stronger, more aggressive. Your heart rate spikes, your pupils dilate, you feel the beast waking inside you, the monster they've built. It feels incredible, like you could tear down walls, like you're invincible. The world snaps into hyperfocus, every detail crystal clear. Time seems to slow. You can see the individual threads in the servitors' robes, can hear heartbeats 3 rooms away, can smell fear in your handler's sweat. Deploy, someone says. You barely hear them. The stimulants are screaming in your system. You need to move, need to kill, need to fulfill your purpose. They transport you to Valgus Secundus via inquisitorial transport. The journey is a blur. You spend it in a restraint harness, the stimulants making you shake with barely suppressed violence. Your handlers stay as far from you as possible. Smart. You could kill them all in seconds. Would kill them if they unrestrained you. The stimulants don't discriminate. Everything becomes a target. The mission is supposed to be surgical. Infiltrate the cult compound, locate Crade, terminate, exfiltrate, clean. Simple. It doesn't go that way. You infiltrate easily. Enhanced strength lets you climb walls. Modified skeleton lets you drop 3 stories without injury. Stealth training makes you invisible. You're in the compound in under 2 minutes and no one knows. You locate Crade in his chambers. He's meeting with lieutenants, 5 of them, plus Crade. 6 targets. Your orders are clear, Crade only. Minimize collateral. The stimulants have other ideas. You enter through the ceiling, Drop into the room like a nightmare given form. Your power sword activates, disruption field crackling to life. Kraid sees you, his mouth opens to scream. Your sword takes his head, clean decapitation. Target eliminated. Mission accomplished. Except the stimulants are still flooding your system. The rage is still there. The need to kill. The 5 lieutenants are looking at you with terror. They're targets, enemies, obstacles between you and mission completion. You kill them all, faster than they can run, faster than they can scream. Your sword opens one from shoulder to hip. Your bare hand punches through another's chest, crushing his heart. The needle pistol puts toxic darts through 2 more. The last one tries to fight. Your wire wraps around his throat and decapitates him when you pull. 6 dead. But you can still hear heartbeats. People in the compound. Witnesses. Complications. You hunt them. Room by room. Corridor by corridor. Anyone you find, you kill. Guards, cultists, servants. A woman hiding in a closet. Children. 3 of them, cowering in a dormitory. The stimulants don't let you distinguish. They're all targets. All threats. All things that need to die. You kill them all. By the time the stimulants finally begin to fade, 43 people are dead. Bodies scattered throughout the compound. Blood coating the walls, and you're standing in the center of it, your power sword still crackling, your body covered in gore. You killed 43. The exfiltration team finds you there, standing among the bodies. They don't speak. Just activate a neutralizer signal that shuts down your stimulant glands. Your rage vanishes. The clarity remains. You see what you've done. All of it. Every corpse. A child's body at your feet. Can't be more than 6. His throat was cut. By you. By your wire. You remember doing it. Remember feeling nothing. The exfiltration team sedates you. Not because you're dangerous anymore. The stimulants have worn off. But because you're standing there, staring at the dead child, and you've started to shake. The first sign of psychological breakdown. They can't have that. Can't risk the weapon questioning itself. They drag you back to the transport. Put you in stasis immediately. The preservation fluid rises around you. The paralysis takes hold. And you're left alone with your thoughts. With the memory of 43 dead. With the image of that child burned into your mind. You're conscious in the stasis tank. Aware. Alone. For 6 months you float in chemical suspension, unable to move, unable to scream, replaying the mission over and over. The child's face, his terror, the feeling of the wire cutting through his throat. 6 months of sensory deprivation torture. 6 months of going mad with what you've done. Mission 2 comes immediately after. They don't let you recover, don't let you process. Just drain the tank, activate the stimulants, and deploy you again. Different target, same result. You kill efficiently. Then you keep killing. The stimulants won't let you stop. Can't let you stop. They're designed to push you past human limits. But they don't have an off switch until they metabolize out of your system. By then it's always too late. Always too many dead. Mission 3. Mission 4. Each one the same. Surgical insertion. Targeted elimination. Then massacre. As the stimulants turn you into a killing machine that can't distinguish friend from foe, guilty from innocent. Igigs kill. You kill hundreds. Thousands over the years. Most of them legitimate targets, heretics, traitors, Xenos threats. But many aren't. Collateral, witnesses, people in the wrong place at wrong time. Children, so many children, they're always there. Always in the compounds, the ships, the facilities you infiltrate. And you kill them all. Between missions, stasis. Years of it. Cumulative decades floating in preservation fluid, conscious, aware, alone. You go mad regularly. hallucinate, experience complete psychological breakdown. Then you recover. Then you break again. The cycle repeats endlessly. The stasis is worse than the killing. At least during missions you're active, moving, doing something. In stasis you're just existing, conscious but helpless. It's torture by definition, sensory deprivation, complete isolation. For years at a time. You try to think to pass the time. Try to remember who you were. Can't. The memories are gone, erased by modifications and conditioning. You remember the scholar, vaguely. Remember being 8 years old. Remember signing forms. But you can't remember your name, your face before the modifications, anything about your parents. It's all gone. You are Asset 447. That's all you are, all you've ever been. The person you were before, if they existed at all, is dead. Mission 12. You're 26 years old, physically 19 due to stasis. You've spent more time frozen than alive. The mission is on a forge world. Target is a rogue tech priest conducting heretical research. Simple assassination. Except when you arrive, you discover the heretical research is trying to cure a plague killing thousands. The tech priest is bypassing Mechanicus protocols, yes, but he's saving lives, children's lives. The plague is hitting the underhive and the Mechanicus won't allocate resources to help menials, so this priest is doing it himself. Your orders are clear. Terminate the tech priest. His research is unsanctioned. His methods are heretical. He must die. The stimulants activate. The rage floods your system. You kill the tech priest. Then you destroy his lab, all his research, the cure he was developing, gone. Thousands will die from the plague now. Children will die. Because you followed orders. Because the Imperium values protocol over lives. You spend the next 2 years in stasis thinking about this, about all the times you've killed people who weren't evil, just inconvenient, just in violation of regulations, just trying to survive in a galaxy that doesn't care if they live or die. You're starting to understand what you really are. Not the Emperor's weapon, not a hero serving a righteous cause. Just a tool the Imperium uses to solve problems it's too incompetent or too corrupt to solve properly. You kill people who don't deserve to die because someone with authority decided they're inconvenient. You're a murderer, not a soldier, not an assassin, a murderer, killing for an empire that doesn't deserve your service. But you can't stop, can't refuse missions. The conditioning is too deep, the modifications too extensive. You're a weapon. Weapons don't choose, they just function. Mission 16 comes when you're 35 years old. Physically 19, 60 cumulative years in stasis, 60 years of conscious paralysis, 60 years of slowly going insane in chemical suspension. The mission is routine. Eliminate a suspected cultist on an agri-world. You deploy, you kill the target, you kill everyone else in the compound. 17 dead, par for the course. But when you're waiting for exfiltration, when the stimulants are wearing off, you find yourself standing in front of a mirror. It's in the compound's bathroom, cracked, dirty, but reflective enough. You look at yourself, really look, for the first time in years. You don't recognize the thing staring back. It's grotesque. Overdeveloped muscles, scars everywhere, cybernetic ports in your skull, your spine visible through your skin. Your eyes are dead, not human anymore, just targeting sensors in a meat chassis. You're a monster. Whatever you were as a child, before the selection, before the training, before the modifications, is completely gone, erased, replaced by this thing, this weapon. You're 35 years old. You've killed thousands. You've been tortured by stasis for decades. You've been used and abused and mutilated by an Imperium that doesn't see you as human, just as a tool, a disposable asset. Your handlers discuss your service life during debriefings. You hear them sometimes when they think you're unconscious. Asset 4487, approaching end of operational effectiveness. 16 deployments completed. Standard protocol suggests 4 to 6 more before mandatory retirement. Retirement. That's what they call execution. When Eversor assassins break down, psychologically or biologically, they're terminated. Can't reprogram you, can't decommission you safely, too dangerous. Too much classified information in your head, too many secrets. So they kill you. One final mission you don't come back from. Or a training accident, or just a bolt to the brainstem while you're in stasis. You have maybe 4 more missions, then they'll dispose of you, like damaged equipment, like a weapon that's outlived its usefulness. You've been used, exploited, destroyed, and now you'll be discarded. Standing in that cracked mirror covered in blood, you finally understand. The selection at age 8 wasn't an honor, it was a death sentence. Delayed, drawn out, made as painful as possible, but a death sentence nonetheless. They took a child and turned him into a monster. Then they're going to kill that monster when he's no longer useful. This was always the plan, from the moment those black-suited figures arrived at the Schola. You were going to be consumed, used up, destroyed, and the Imperium calls this honorable service. The exfiltration team arrives. They see you standing in front of the mirror, see something in your expression that concerns them. One reaches for the neural override, the emergency shutdown that can knock you unconscious if you become unstable. You let them activate it, you fall, they catch you, drag you to the transport, put you in stasis. Fluid rises, the paralysis takes hold. You're conscious, aware, alone again. This time, you don't try to think about missions. Don't try to remember your past. You just exist. In the darkness, in the silence, floating in chemical suspension, waiting for mission 17. Which might be your last. Which you hope is your last. Because oblivion, true, final oblivion, would be better than this. Better than another decade frozen and aware. Better than more killing. Better than continuing to exist as this broken thing the Imperium made you. You float in the stasis tank and you wait for the end. Mission 17 never comes, not in the way you expect. You're in stasis for what feels like years. Could be months, could be decades. Time doesn't exist in the tank. Just endless consciousness in paralyzed darkness. You've gone mad 3 times during this suspension. Hallucinated conversations with people who don't exist. Relived missions in fragmentary loops. Experienced complete dissociation from your body. Then recovered, then descended again. The madness is almost welcome. It's different from the crushing sameness of normal consciousness in stasis. It's variety. Entertainment, in the bleakest possible sense. You're in the middle of a hallucinatory episode. You're 8 years old again, back in the Schola, running the obstacle course, except the course is made of corpses now, all the people you've killed, and you're running across their faces. When the tank drains, unusual, unscheduled, the preservation fluid drops rapidly. Feeling returns to your limbs. The neural connections disconnect. You collapse out of the tank, gasping, your lungs remembering how to breathe air instead of oxygenated fluid. No one catches you, no servitors waiting to hose you down, no handlers with stimulant injectors, just an empty chamber and alarm klaxons wailing somewhere in the facility. You stand on shaking legs. You're weak, atrophied from stasis. Takes you several minutes to remember how to walk properly. Your augmented physiology helps, accelerated recovery. Within 10 minutes, you're functional. You're also alone. The facility is usually crawling with staff. Now, nothing. Empty corridors. The lumens are flickering. Emergency lighting. Something has gone wrong. You walk through the corridors, naked, dripping preservation fluid, following the sound of weapons fire. Your enhanced hearing picks it up. Bolter fire several corridors away, screaming. The wet sounds of bodies hitting floors. The facility is under attack. You find a weapons locker. Break it open with your bare hands. Augmented strength makes short work of the locking mechanism. Inside, your operational gear. You dress quickly. Bodysuit, armor plates, weapons. The familiar weight of your power sword. The comfortable grip of your bolt pistol. The stimulant glands activate automatically, combat pheromones in the air triggering your conditioning. The rage floods your system. The world snaps into hyper-focus. You're operational, ready to kill. You follow the weapons fire to its source, the facility's main barracks. The doors are blown open. Inside, carnage. Dead guards, dead staff. And the attackers. Space Marines. You recognize the livery immediately. Years of Xenos anatomy training included Imperial faction identification. These are Ultramarines. Blue armor, gold trim. The Aquila prominent on their pauldrons. They're sweeping through the facility, methodically eliminating everyone they find. This isn't a rescue. This is a purge. You watch from cover as 3 Ultramarines execute a group of cornered Medici staff. Bolter fire at point-blank range. The bodies explode. The Space Marines move on without pause. Efficient, professional, killing Imperial citizens without hesitation. Your conditioning screams at you to engage. These are attackers, threats. You should defend the facility. But something stops you. Some fragment of rational thought cutting through the stimulant rage. Why are Space Marines purging an Officio Assassinorum facility? Why kill everyone? What happened? You access a data terminal. They're scattered throughout the facility for operational updates. Your neural implants interface with the terminal. Information flows directly into your brain. Mission logs, incident reports, and one recent entry that explains everything. Containment breach. Evidus candidates. Echelon through theta. Compromised. Chaos corruption. Detected. Facility quarantine failed. Purge authorized. All personnel expendable. All assets to be terminated. No survivors. Chaos corruption. Someone, several someones apparently, were corrupted, compromised. And rather than risk the corruption spreading, the Inquisition ordered the entire facility destroyed, everyone in it killed, including you, including all the other Eversor assets in stasis, including the staff who were just following orders, the Imperium solution to the problem it created. Kill everyone and start over. You're an asset to be terminated. Expendable, not a person to be saved. A problem to be eliminated. The rage from the stimulants mixes with something else. Something colder. Understanding. Clarity. This is what you are to them. What you've always been. Not a warrior serving the Emperor. Not a weapon to be valued. Just a tool. And when tools become problematic, you dispose of them. Doesn't matter if the tool did nothing wrong. Doesn't matter if the tool served faithfully for decades. Proximity to corruption is enough. You're going to die today. Not in glorious service. Not completing a mission. Just executed by your own side because someone nearby was corrupted, and killing everyone is easier than investigating properly. The Ultramarines are getting closer. You can hear their heavy footsteps. They're clearing rooms systematically. They'll reach you soon. You could fight. Your enhancements make you formidable, even against Space Marines. The stimulants are flooding your system. You're at peak combat effectiveness. You could take at least one of them with you, maybe 2 if you're lucky. Or you could run. The facility has emergency exits, maintenance tunnels, waste disposal chutes, ways out if you're fast enough. You could escape, survive. And then what? You're an Eversor assassin, the Imperium's most recognizable type of assassin, grotesquely augmented, cybernetically modified, walking atrocity that screams Officio Assassinorum to anyone with basic threat recognition training. You can't hide, can't blend in, can't live among normal humans. Your metabolism requires constant chemical regulation. Your stomortalin glands produce combat drugs whether you want them or not. You're designed for violence and nothing else. If you escape, you'll be hunted. The Imperium doesn't tolerate rogue Eversor assassins. They'll send everything after you. Other assassins, inquisitors, space marines. They'll burn entire worlds to find you, kill thousands to eliminate one problematic asset. And even if you somehow evaded capture, survived on your own, what kind of life would that be? You're a weapon. You don't know how to be anything else. They erased that possibility years ago. Fight or flight. Death or death. You choose neither. You wait in the shadows until the Ultramarines enter the chamber. 3 of them, massive in their power armor, weapons ready, scanning for threats. You step into view, unarmed, hands at your sides, no aggression. The stimulants are screaming at you to attack, but you suppress the conditioning. Years of training, yes, but also something else. Choice. The final choice you'll ever make. The Ultramarines see you. Weapons snap to target. One speaks through external vox. Eversor asset identified, termination authorized. I know, you respond. Your voice sounds strange to your own ears. You haven't spoken in months, years. Time in stasis makes it impossible to track. I'm not going to fight. I just want to say something first. The Space Marines don't lower their weapons, but they don't fire immediately either. You have seconds, maybe less. I was 8 years old, you say, words coming faster now, knowing you're out of time. They took me from a Schola Progenium, told me I was selected for advanced training, told me I'd serve the Emperor in special ways. I signed forms I couldn't read, agreed to procedures I couldn't understand. I was 8 years old and I consented to my own destruction because I thought it was an honor. The lead Space Marine's helmet tilts slightly, listening. Or just waiting for you to finish before executing you. Doesn't matter. They spent 9 years turning me into this. You gesture at your augmented body. Surgery, gene therapy, cybernetics, conditioning. They took a child and made him into a weapon, erased his personality, removed his humanity, made him kill thousands. Then they put him in stasis between missions. Conscious stasis. Decades of sensory deprivation, torture. Decades of being awake and paralyzed and alone. They called it preservation. I call it hell. Your voice is shaking now. The stimulants are demanding violence, but you push through. I served faithfully, did everything they asked, killed everyone they designated, never questioned, never refused. And now I'm being purged because someone else was corrupted. Because proximity to corruption is enough. Because I'm not a person to be investigated or evaluated. I'm just an asset to be terminated. The Space Marines haven't fired. You're not sure why. Maybe they're curious. Maybe they're waiting for something. Maybe they just want to hear the monster speak before putting it down. The Imperium did this to me. You continue. Took a child and destroyed him. Called it service. Called it honor. But it wasn't honor. It was exploitation. It was abuse. It was turning children into disposable weapons and pretending that's righteous. And the worst part? I can't even hate you for killing me. You're just following orders, just like I always did, just like we're all trained to do. You stop. The words are gone. You've said what you needed to say. To someone, anyone. even if it's just the Space Marines who've come to execute you. The lead ultramarine lowers his bolter slightly. Speaks, "You understand your termination is necessary." "I understand the Imperium considers it necessary. I understand that's not the same thing as right. The Imperium is all that stands between humanity and extinction. Extreme measures are sometimes required. You served. You killed the Emperor's enemies. Your service is noted." "My service was slavery. My entire life was slavery. I never had a choice. I was taken at 8 years old and turned into this thing, and now that thing is inconvenient. So you're going to kill it." "That's not service. That's just horror with propaganda layered over it." Silence. The other 2 Space Marines are watching their leader, waiting for orders, waiting to fire. The lead Ultramarine finally says, "What would you have us do? Let you live? You're an Eversor assassin, designed for violence, incapable of normal life, too dangerous to allow freedom. What alternative exists?" "None," you admit. "I'm already dead. Been dead since I was 13 and they installed the neural implants. This conversation is just the eulogy. I just wanted someone to know, someone to understand what was done to me, to us, to all the children they take and destroy. Someone needs to know the truth." The Ultramarine nods slowly. "Your truth is recorded. Will you accept the Emperor's peace?" "I'll accept death. I don't think there's peace in this galaxy for things like me." The bolters rise. You close your eyes. After decades of violence, decades of killing, decades of being a weapon, you're finally going to rest. Finally going to stop. The stimulants are trying to make you fight, make you rage, make you kill until you're killed. But you suppress them. One final act of will, one final choice. The Emperor's peace. What a bitter joke. There's no peace in the Imperium, just endless war, endless suffering, endless exploitation dressed up as duty. But at least it's ending. At least you won't wake up in stasis again. Won't spend another decade frozen and aware. Won't kill anyone else. Won't be used anymore. You think about the child you were. 8 years old, running obstacle courses, thinking he'd been chosen for something glorious. You wish you could tell him, run, refuse, fight, anything except consent, anything except signing those forms. The honor is a lie. The service is a trap. The glory is horror with a propaganda filter. But you can't tell him. He's long dead. Died on an operating table at age 13 when they installed the first neural implants. Everything since has just been a weapon that looks like him, walks like him, but isn't him. The bolters fire. You feel the impacts. The pain is distant, stimulant suppressed, barely registering. Your dead man switch activates. The bomb in your chest detonates. Molecular acid explosive expanding outward. Your final act of service. Even in death you kill. The Space Marine's armor protects them, but you damage them, hurt them, make them work for your execution. Then, nothing. There is no peace waiting for you. No Emperor's light, no reward for faithful service. Just the same darkness you experienced in stasis, but this time it's real. Final. Complete. Asset 447 Eversor Assassin is dead. Terminated during facility purge. Service record, 16 completed missions, thousands of confirmed eliminations, 35 years operational lifespan, 19 physical. Final evaluation. Acceptable performance, standard retirement protocol executed successfully. The Imperium will replace you. There are always more children in the Schola Progenium. Always more candidates with fast reflexes and high aggression scores. Always more 8-year-olds who don't understand what they're consenting to. They'll take those children and do to them what was done to you. Break them, rebuild them, turn them into weapons, use them up, dispose of them. This is the horrifying reality of being chosen for Eversor training in Warhammer 40K. Not glory, not honor, not service to a righteous cause. Just systematic destruction of children dressed up as training. Just exploitation called service. Just slavery branded as honor. Just abuse justified by necessity. You were 8 years old when they took you. You were already dead. You just didn't know it yet. The next 17 years were just the process of your corpse figuring out it had died. This is what the Imperium does. This is what it calls righteous. This is what it perpetuates across 1,000,000 worlds, generation after generation, grinding up children and spitting out weapons that don't quite remember they used to be human. And somewhere right now, another 8-year-old is being selected, being told they're special, being handed forms they can't read, signing away their humanity because they think it's an honor. The cycle continues. The horror continues. The Imperium continues. And the chosen children die, one way or another, never understanding that the choice was always an illusion, that they were never going to serve with glory. Only die with it, slowly, painfully, while calling it honor because acknowledging the truth would break them faster than the modifications already are. This is the Emperor's peace. This is faithful service. This is the reward for being chosen. Death, preceded by decades of torture, exploitation, and systematic dehumanization, but death all the same. Welcome to the Imperium, where even the monsters are victims, where even the weapons weep, where even death is just another form of service. The only mercy is that it ends. Eventually, one way or another, it always ends. And ending for the chosen ones is the closest thing to peace they'll ever know.